this is a piece of that cross deck pendant. I'm going to pass it around. Think about this. This is 1 foot of a 250-foot cable. It's pretty heavy. Okay, pretty heavy. It's a steel line with a hip center. That hip center allows it to stretch. Hip is natural fiber line. Right? It allows it to stretch. So pass that around and feel that. Pretty cool that we found that. That's a Midway cable. Most of the time, back when the ship was active, when they took off a piece of cross-deck pendant, remember how many times they changed it out? Every 100 landings, or if they caught 3 snags, they would run a gloved hand across. They would take it off. Usually they would give it the float check. They didn't float too well. All right? So guys, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about today. Last night you learned about the machinery part of landing on an aircraft. You learn about what happens on this ship to make it possible for that airplane to land. Well, today we're going to talk about the pilot's perspective. Okay, the pilot's perspective of landing on an aircraft. I'm looking around. Do I have my Air Force veteran in this group?
Nope.
That's right, your dad, right? All right, well, I'll speak freely then. All right. I was hoping I could roll without that. Okay. You have 3 things, Scouts, that you're looking for to land on an aircraft carrier. Okay? You can essentially fly without being able to see at all. But you're looking for 3 things to be able to successfully land on the aircraft carrier. The first thing is inside of your cockpit. Okay? It's inside of your cockpit. It's this little light right here. It looks just like this. It's called your traffic signal. At least that's what we call it. And that's your airspeed indicator. Get it? Traffic signal. The light you're looking for is an orange light, amber light, yellow. If you get a green light, you're going too fast. If you get a red light, you're going too slow. This is your landing speed. You want to be right around 160 knots, 170, 179 miles per hour. Okay, that's what you're looking for to land on the back of the carrier. Before you land, you're going to be circling over top of the carrier in a large squadron, probably about 7 planes. Not a circle, a big oval. Anybody a NASCAR fan in this group? Okay, I'm not the only redneck. You guys can laugh. I know it's early. It's okay. I'm working up here, okay? I'm working. All right, you got an oval. They're flying in an oval, and when it's their time to land, they're going to break off from that oval. They're going to do a hard bank in the front of the ship, and that's going to slow their airspeed. All right? They're going really fast, and they need to slow down to 160 knots. They're going to come around the back. They're a little lower. They're going to do another hard bank and turn, and they're going to drop air altitude. That's when we're going to activate this light. This light tells us we're going 160 knots. That's how fast I need to go to land on the back of the ship. So that's the first thing you're looking for, traffic light. The second thing you're looking for, I think Angie talked about last night, and that's your Fresnel lens or your meatball. Did you learn about that last night? You adults, you've seen Top Gun, right? Everybody's seen Top Gun. At the very beginning of the movie, Maverick is flying, and he said, all right, you hear over the radio, it's the LSO talking to him, or the landing signal officer, and you hear Maverick call the ball. Maverick comes on and says, this is Maverick, I have the ball. He's talking about the meatball. He's saying that he can see the meatball, and now he's going to be flying by the ball. The meatball is a lens. One of these lights is going to be lit up, just one. It's circular, it looks like a meatball. His goal, this light is lit up, and all of these green lights are lit up. And his goal is to line that meatball up with this row of lights, or datum lights. If it's lined up there, he knows that he has the perfect angle of attack, or flight angle, to catch the number 2 wire. All right? He flies in and keeps that lined up with this green light the entire time. He knows that his tail hook is going to hit the green light, the number 2 wire. And how far is he going to stretch out when he does?
340.
340 feet. So that's number 2. What's the first thing you're looking for? Traffic light. Second thing? The meatball. You got it. The third thing you're looking for is the center line. It's what you're sitting on right now. Look down here. Does everyone see this white and yellow striped line? This F-4 Phantom. Remember we talked about the F-4 Phantom fighters last night, right? This F-4 Phantom, he's sitting right on the center line. If you look back there, that really, really large aircraft, the Whale, that's a mid-air refueler. That's also sitting on the center line, right on the round down. It's just landed. You're looking for the center line. So number 1, what is it? Traffic light. Number 2? Meatball. Number 3? Moving up in the world. All right, you're getting better at being pilots. So knowing what you know right now, do you think this is a good landing or a bad landing?
Bad.
It looks like he's a little off center, right? Well, actually, the camera's on his wing, so he's centered. What tells you that this is a good landing? That's right, look here. We have the meatball perfectly lined up with those datum lights. He's going to come in, he's going to catch the which wire? Second wire. That's the perfect landing. He's coming in just right. Well, if this is a good landing, what's this? Bad landing. And this is how we know this is obviously a training picture, right? Because every single light on this thing will be flashing red right now because the LSO or landing signal officer has hit a switch on his little pickle stick to tell the pilot to wave off. You're about to hit the back of the ship. You're about to have a ramp strike. All right, this tells him that he's coming in extremely low. So when he comes in, he's going to catch the wire. And I get this question a lot. Well, if he's aiming for the number 2 wire, how come he doesn't catch the number 3 wire as well? Has everybody ever wondered that? How come your hook doesn't catch more than 1 wire? You can only catch 1, but when it's dragging across the deck, how come it doesn't catch another? There is another. It's called the number 2 wire, and there's one on either side. First, why does he catch the number 2 wire? Anybody got a good guess?
No, that's the stretchy one.
No, they're all stretchy. They all have the exact same engine room that you saw last night.
Right in the middle, so that if you go too slow, you'll catch this one, and if you catch the one,
That's perfect. Did everybody hear that?
yes.
We're on a ship, guys. And as still as we feel right now, when we're out in the middle of the ocean, you can feel it move. She does go up and down with the waves. So if you're aiming for the number 2 wire, and this ship hits a wave, and the back of the ship raises up in the last minute, what wire is the pilot going to catch?
One.
First wire. The exact opposite, if you're aiming for the second wire, and the ship drops out from under you, what are you going to catch? The number 3 wire. That's why you're aiming for the number 2 wire to have a backup on either side. But if you hit the number 2 wire, how come you don't catch the 3rd wire as well? Everybody looks over there. Last night you learned about the arresting gear engine room, and you learned that that's a hydraulic system. A hydraulic, kind of like a bike pump. This is the hydraulic arm. When he catches the number 2 wire, it's going to hit the deck with so much force that it's going to bounce up horizontal with the back of the aircraft. Also, each wire is sitting about 3 inches off the deck, 3 to 6 inches off the deck on leaf springs. All right, so the pilot's going to roll over those leaf springs. They're going to bounce down to the deck, pop right back up when he's done. All right, but that arm is going to swing up parallel with the back of the aircraft, just like that. And he's going to pull it out how far? 340 feet. 340 feet. When he comes across the back of the ship, when that aircraft comes across the back of the ship, no matter what size, no matter how long or how heavy, that Fresnel lens is going to bring him across the back of the ship where his tail hook is exactly 12 feet off the deck. 12 feet. No matter how big the plane is. The pilot's head has to fit in an imaginary circle the size of a beach ball. That's how much wiggle room he has. That's how good you have to be a naval aviator or a marine aviator. All right? Now I'm going to tell you a little story. I'm going to tell you the difference between naval aviation and Air Force aviation. All right? If you're in the Air Force, you've got this long landing area. This long runway to land on. Right before a pilot lands, he's going to come down really gently, going 160 knots just like we're going. But right before he hits the runway, he's going to do what's called a flare. Do we have any pilots in this group? All right. Right before any pilot lands, even commercial pilots, they flare. And what flaring is doing is you're basically increasing your angle of attack. Remember your angle of attack? You're increasing that at the last minute. You're exposing more surface area on the bottom of your plane to the air, so you're creating impact lift. and you're basically hitting the brakes right before you touch down. You're going to touch down real gently with your back landing gear, speed up just a little bit to nose down, and you're going to go head on down the runway, slowing down the whole time. It's a perfect landing. I'm not saying Air Force pilots can't land. They do it perfectly. All right? They do it exactly the way they've been trained. Naval pilots do something a little bit differently. We come in for a landing, and we don't land, we crash. Every single time we hit the deck, it's a controlled crash. We hit the deck with so much force that any normal plane would shatter. Right before we hit the deck, we don't flare.